If you've got a boat, side-by-side, or any other vehicle that you're looking for an all-weather amplifier solution, the KICKER 6006 will be the perfect choice for you. This amplifier has 50 watts per channel at 4 ohms and 100 watts per channel at 2 ohms. Each of the 3 pairs of outputs can be bridged together to provide 200 watts of power at 4 ohms. The AMP1 and AMP2 are full-range outputs that can be configured to high pass from 0 to 200 Hz at 12 dB per octave. The AMP3 output has a couple additional features. It can be configured low pass with a variable crossover from 50 to 200 Hz at 12 dB per octave. It also has a 25 Hz, 24 dB per octave subsonic filter to protect your speakers from ultra-low frequencies. Let's take a look at the connections and the setup of this amazing versatile amplifier. Connections on this amplifier are pretty straightforward. You have a ground, which should be connected to the ground terminal of the battery, a switch 12-volt input to turn the amplifier on and off with the radio or an ignition source, and you have a 12-volt connection that's tied directly to the battery with the appropriate fuse. The 6 channels of output are configured to AMP1, AMP2, and AMP3. If you bridge the amplifier, you want to make sure to run the same signal into both left and right inputs of each of the amplifier zones. This will ensure you get the maximum output of the amplifier for the given input. Bridging the amplifier is very simple. You'll use the left speaker output for the positive, the right speaker negative for the negative input to the speaker. You can run either RCA out of the back of the head unit, or with KICKER's FIT technology, you can run up to 25 watts per channel right into the RCA inputs without the need for line output converter, which can degrade the audio quality. The amplifier has 3 pair of RCA inputs. You can get all 6 channels to play with only 1 pair of inputs. As we look at the switches on the amplifier, the input level will select between low and high level input. The low level will set this amplifier to accept 125 millivolts to a 5-volt signal. In high level, it'll accept a 250 millivolt to 10-volt signal, which is equivalent to 25 watts coming out of the speaker output of your head unit. The AMP2 input is going to tell AMP2 where it's going to get signal. Is it going to get signal directly from the AMP1 input, or are you going to have a separate zone input for AMP2? This will be the switch that will determine that. Likewise, the AMP3 input does the exact same thing. You can select it to get the input from either AMP2 or a separate zone input directly into the RCA input of AMP3. If you only have one zone of input and need all 6 channels to operate, make sure the AMP2 input button and the AMP3 input button are in the out position. If you have 2 zones of input but need all 6 channels to operate, you need to make sure you have the AMP2 input button pressed in and the AMP3 input button should be out. If you have 3 zones of input, make sure you have the AMP2 and the AMP3 button in the in position. AMP1 and 2 both feature gain and frequency adjustments for the crossover. The amplifier is full range, but as you turn the crossover, you can vary the high pass crossover at 12 dB per octave from 0 to 200 Hz. The gain controls allow you to adjust the output of the amplifier to match the output of your particular source unit. You also get an included power and protection light, which are green and red LEDs on the right side of the amplifier. Green means it's operating perfectly, protection means that something has gone wrong and you need to check your wiring. The AMP3 output also has a gain to match it to the source, but it does also include a switch, which gives you full range, high pass, or low pass capabilities at 12 dB per octave. The adjustable frequency in the crossover will vary that 12 dB per octave crossover from 50 to 200 Hz. You also get a 0 to 6 dB bass boost at 40 Hz in case you need a little extra thump. I think you're going to agree that the KICKER KMA600.6 is an extremely powerful, versatile amplifier that will suit any need that has to cope with the extreme elements of the outdoor environment. This amplifier features power connections that were built to Coast Guard standards to ensure you're never going to have a problem no matter what you throw at this amplifier. If you want information about this amplifier or any of the other amazing KICKER Marine products, please visit your local authorized KICKER retailer either in person or online today.